there to be flown down. I was playing guitars I'd never even heard of, but we made it back to America after Puerto Rico. And then my guitar tech, John J.D. Dworkow, went back to Caracas to see the damage and what, if anything, was left. But there was nothing. It had been a fireball crash. The plane's tail had broken off. It was still all there, pretty much in one piece. The rest, there was nothing, and surely there was no way my beloved guitar had survived.
She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain, coming round the mountain. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes.
Chapter 1. Growing up, my parents lived a couple of streets apart and would always see each other, and then, in their early teens, they got together. Then they broke up but kept seeing each other. It was one of those stories. And then finally they hooked up. My dad would have been in his late teens, early 20s when the war broke out. He was born in 1919. He did only a year or two in college, and then he signed up for the war and went to Sandhurst for officer training. He was a lieutenant, or lieutenant, as we say in the UK. During the war, he became an acting captain. He was in charge of 25-pounder guns, loads of them, and a whole team. At night, with his batman and radio operator, he'd go behind enemy lines to get the position they wanted to hit. You couldn't do it with gadgets then. It was guesswork. I think it's 200 yards, you know. He would come back and they'd load up all the stuff and he'd tell them, "This is where it's got to go." After Europe was won, my dad stayed there for another year because he was in charge of a displaced persons camp, sending White Russians back to Russia. The White Russians had fought on the side of the Germans like the Vichy French. The deal that Churchill, Stalin and Roosevelt made at the Yalta Conference in 1945 was that all prisoners of war would be repatriated without choice. This sealed the fate of many Russian Cossacks, or White Russians. My dad sent the first train full of Cossacks back to Russia as ordered. When the train returned, he could tell they had all been shot and dragged off. When the second train came back, there were no windows left. They'd broken the windows and used pieces of glass to commit family suicide, knowing what horror awaited them. Every train car interior was red with blood, and he said, "I can't do this." It was a big secret for a long time. Not until the 1970s did the story come out. My dad was interviewed on the radio about it, and after witnessing the second train return, he signed his Batman's demob papers and vice versa. Then they both headed home in shock. "This is murder. I'm condemning them to death." Not that I would blame him, but I think my father was a drinker during the war. You and I would both be drinkers too, like soldiers in Vietnam with drugs. It's whatever floats your boat and gets you through the day, I guess. After he came back, Mum and Dad went out on the town a couple of times and tied it on, and then they decided, now we're going back to college, going to do this, going to do that. Every Christmas, my dad had one nip of whiskey, and that's all he had. I never asked him because I didn't want to embarrass him, but I think he decided he just shouldn't drink. They say alcoholism is genetic, and that's where I got it from. I can't really say whether that's true or not. I don't want to put my dad down. But I'm not really putting him down because it's a disease. I was born 5 years after the war, so I didn't live through the bombing, and my parents and their friends weren't about to talk about it with me. So I didn't really realize until a little later what they'd just gone through. When there was an air raid, going to the shelter was such a pain that my mum just got fed up and used to stand on the balcony and watch the bombs come down. And if I'm going to go, I'm going to go kind of thing.